What's up guys, Tim Rustwick here, and today I want to talk about a concept that I think has really helped me get a lot of places in a lot of different areas of my life, and that's the whole concept of building to ship. Now when I talk about building to ship, what I mean is any product that you build, any software, any game, anything like that, you want to build it with the intention to ship it. Like when I started in game development, I spent so many hours and days and weeks and months on stuff that even though I would imagine building it like eventually or shipping it, I didn't have the intention to do that. I was just kind of trying to build this thing that I could share with my friends or build this whatever, share it around, do all kinds of weird tests and crazy things and try out new features and just keep developing and stuff. And one of the things that I learned from doing all that is that as an artist, right, like no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're building, you are an artist. You are creating something from nothing, from scratch, with your brain and your 10 fingers, right? So as an artist, you have to understand that some of the greatest artists in history that we know about, and all these different people that their names are renowned in these halls of fame and all these crazy places, and their paintings go for millions and all kinds of stuff. The people that we know about are the ones that actually finish things. They're not necessarily the ones that had the best art. Like art is very subjective, right? Like how can you tell that guy's art is better than that guy's art? Like I saw a painting go for $2.4 million one time that was just a bunch of splats on the screen. I don't think that was worth $2.4 million, but someone did. So how do you say one artist is better than another? How do you put a dollar value on all these different art when we don't know who was the best? But there are plenty of people that were renowned as the best artists of all time because they continually finished products. They continually shipped them. Like a lot of these famous artists put out hundreds, sometimes even thousands of art pieces during their lifetime. And that's kind of crazy to think about, right? Like how can you put up that much stuff over and over? But these guys built to ship. They just kept building, they kept building, they kept building. When you start on a project, like especially a game, you have to have the intention to ship. And intention goes just beyond like, oh, someday I'm gonna publish it. You gotta have a deadline. You gotta have like the real core intention in all of your being to like actually get it out there. And I talked a couple times about sticking to MVPs or building the minimum product and then iterating afterwards. And I think for me, like the thing that has made the biggest difference in all of my development, in software and game development, has been this sprint to the rough draft, right? Like I have this intention to build the core thing as fast as I can, and then I can build a bunch of stuff on top of it and add to it later. But I want to ship the core thing. Now don't get me wrong here. I know what I'm saying is kind of can be misconstrued as like, you know, make a piece of shit and just put it out there. Don't worry about quality, all that stuff. That's not what I'm talking about, right? Like I think quality in game design is really important, especially in our situation now in our ecosystem where there are tons of shit mobile games and shitty games are just taking over the whole Steam store and all kinds of stuff. So quality is really important, right? But I think as a developer, you are not a machine, and you have to understand that you are not a machine, okay? Machines can run 24/7. You just give them electricity and they're good to go. You are not that. I am not that. We cannot run 24/7 on just electricity. Even on food and water, we can't do it. Our brains are not wired that way. We have a bunch of other human needs. And if you understand that about yourself, and you understand that when you start a project, especially a bigger project, you're not that likely to finish it if you don't push through, if you don't make shit happen. Or when you're working on a project and you don't ever have the intention to really ship it, it might not ever get done. Or you have to be aware of these things because they're really important. And I think looking at yourself as like a human being, not a machine, right? Like people constantly compare the brain to a computer and stuff like that, which it's not accurate. Human beings have other needs and other things get in the way. Our motivation dies. our desire to continue dies. Like sometimes in the beginning we have this really strong desire to learn, and then we learn something and we don't want to work on the project anymore. So like for me, just keeping it in my brain in the beginning of my project, like I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna sprint as fast as I can to ship this thing. I'm gonna build it to ship as fast as I can. Just get down, and usually like a lot of times, especially in like mobile games, I can get the basic version out in a week or two. And I really love that because that's like the max of my attention span. If I go anything beyond that, it's like it starts to get in the territory of, yeah, I really don't want to mess with this thing anymore. So for me, it's really important to just kind of sprint and get that playable demo or that vertical slice or that MVP or, you know, the basic version done as fast as I can. And with the intention of shipping it, right? Like I'm gonna put this out there, see what people think, and then I'm gonna iterate it on later. I think there's something that happens in your brain too as a human being when you start shipping things. It's a different mentality than when you're building things, because when you're building things, there is no end to the amount of times you can tweak it. There is no perfection. There's no completion point in art. When you're working on a game and you don't intend to ship it, you can keep adding shit and tweaking shit for eternity. It literally, you will have stuff to do on that game forever. There is no game developer in the modern world that I know of that really looks at their game as complete, right? There's just published or not published. It's not really complete. It's not perfect. It's not 100%, but they got it out there. And the ones that get it out there are the ones that go places. And just like the famous artists, the ones that get it out there are the ones that we remember, the ones that we know about. These people that don't get their stuff out there, that don't publish, that don't ship, we don't know who they are. Because as much love and effort and amazing quality and attention to detail and all that they put into their project, they didn't ship it. So we don't know about it. And you gotta understand that, right? Like you gotta make that mental shift from an artist that wants to create this perfect thing and not put it out there till it's perfect to, no, you're a person that's gonna build to ship. You're gonna build it to ship it. You've got a deadline, you've got a sprint in mind, you're gonna make shit happen, you're gonna get it done, and you're gonna push it out there, and you're gonna move on to the next thing. Sometimes you iterate on the old thing and make it better and better and better a few times, but you gotta know when to stop. Like, you can't get so focused on the perfection that you never get shit out there. You gotta build it to ship it, and you gotta know that going in, that no matter what, the shit is not gonna be perfect. It's never gonna be perfect. And if all of the famous artists in history didn't release anything until they thought it was absolutely perfect, one, they would never get better, but two, we wouldn't know their name. So that's my message for you guys today. Build to ship. If you have any comments on it, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Once again, I'm Tim Ruswick. I will see you guys in the next video.